can do this. The theme of tonight's set for myself is selling out or selling myself. I did it a little bit when I did that 260 Minutes project of 5 new every week because I got so desperate for like every joke that I ever created and anything anybody said to me. It made me do some kind of cruel things. Like I was at a gig and a DJ came up to me, already not great, and says, "Hey, you should do a joke about e-cigarettes. Those things are hilarious." And instead of nodding and smiling, I said, "You're right." That is an incredibly cruel thing to do to a DJ. He shouldn't get positive affirmation until he hangs up his Affliction shirt and redirects his website to Songza. I mean, I've said crueler things though, actually, in a weird way. I'll look through old voice memos of my of ideas that I've had, and some of them I don't know who was recording them. I think it's like a prank from the future to make me think I'm a bad person. I was listening to myself from a couple weeks ago, and I had this recorded. She gets pregnant to save money on tampons. Who does? I don't know. I didn't know anybody that was pregnant. I hadn't even been to a Walmart recently. I had no idea who that was about, but I thought it was important enough to save in the cloud and tell you fine folks. Actually went okay. You didn't hate me for it. Okay. This next thing I want to talk about, it's actually, I got rejected recently at the blood bank. I'm going to let that hang out there for a while. Did he go traveling or butt sex? Funny thing, traveling gives you gay sex. Anyway, it was Vietnam. Ladyboys, they happen. Apparently they give you malaria. I didn't know. So I'm coming out of the coding. When they rejected me, they were really mean about it. It was like a bad Tinder experience. They just stamped my form. No. I was like, don't you need this? And they're like, not yours. It was really uncomfortable. They still get me soup, but that was consolation soup, I guess. I was from malaria, and I'm coming out, and I keep going to make the donate blood appointment, but then something will happen to me. I'll read internet comments, and then I'll just be like, I don't know if I want more people around. One donation saves 3 lives. People brag about it. They're like, I saved 90 lives. Yeah, statistically, that's 60 assholes. At least. What if you saved the next Hitler? You never talk about that. No. So it was always funny to me too, because they always screen who's donating blood so extensively. They know when I go in there every time that I've looked at a boob. They have that in the computer system, but they ask the person that gets the blood nothing. Not one thing. It's just are you low? That's the only thing that you get. I think there should be some questions, if it's my donation, I want to have some control. Have you ever said get her done, or does your truck have nuts? Yes? Oh, sorry. Work our way down the list. This is not a match. Not a good thing to do. I think you should be asked if you've given blood when you're in need of it. Just kind of make it like torrenting sites now. You have to upload more than you download. That gives you priority. It's very similar. The files can have viruses or gay sex in them. Got to keep a track on it. And it's funny because people donate blood and they just give it away, which is the only thing that you can do. But if you give money to a company, you are totally upset when you find out that 30% of it was spent on administration costs. You lose your mind. You're are you shitting me? How much is the president's salary? You're not oh, did the secretary get 30% of this pint? Oh, I don't know if I like that. And I'm not trying to wish death on anybody, obviously, but maybe I just don't want to be complacent in their life. That's kind of my view. That was too dark. All right, I'll move on. I also was really intrigued that I was not allowed, or you're not allowed in Canada at least, to sell your blood, which I think is a strange thing, because you can sell basically everything else that you do. I made it. That's the only thing that I really own. If I made a bunch of muffins, I could sell them and get a top 40 under 40 nomination and be an entrepreneur, but you sell your blood, there's a problem, which is strange to me. I think the government's view of blood is the same as pot, marijuana. You can possess it, you can't sell it, but they'll give it to you with a doctor's note. I thought that was way clever. I really did. I patted myself on the back so hard I sprang something. I think a good middle ground would be that if the government would in the future allow me to pay my taxes with blood donations. I think that'd be like a good way to kind of balance it out. Because then at that point it would change the whole discussion about taxes. Like you could actually say, oh, those streets are paved with blood. Or you're getting into like a shitty conversation with a cop and you're like, hey, my blood pays your salary. Speaking of selling parts of myself, I heard this weird sort of story. We're entering the dick joke phase now. I heard this weird story because 3D printing is becoming a very popular thing. It's becoming very common. And I heard this story about a woman entrepreneur who got the idea and figured out how to 3D print sex toys, dildos. And so she made these and she found models and she got them printed and then she sold them. And somehow she sold one to this other woman who somehow found out that the model was her brother. Yeah, now I know you're a little like, and like here's the thing, I don't think that that's true. And I don't think that it's true because there's no way the two would ever find out that that happened. Or it would be horrible. Like worst case scenario, they get a little drunk, and stay with each other in the biblical way, incest. And as she's sitting there, she's like, this feels really familiar, and not because we have genetic markers in common. That way. Because who brings that up in casual conversation? Like they're at Thanksgiving dinner one day, she's just like, this turkey leg reminds me of another bone I devoured. And the guy's like, funny story, I 3D modeled for, and then you would stop talking. You would just eat in silence for the rest of the meal because you want some like plausible deniability. Also would never happen because if his thing looked like a turkey leg, that would have come up earlier, I think. Who would buy that as I don't want to know actually. Maybe there's one out there. I didn't do enough research. I thought maybe it could have been an accident. That's how she figured it out. Like one day she walked in on her brother having sex and just like recognized the look on the woman's face. Like, oh boy, I'm in trouble. It made me wonder if she stopped using it. Like the damage is done. Stopping isn't going to make you unknow the thing. So you can't get pregnant off of it unless 3D printing is way more accurate than I think it is. Lots of groans. All right. I was also curious how this entrepreneur found her models to create these things, because you either have to be like really confident or not at all confident in yourself. Like not at all confident makes sense because like somebody's out there thinking like, you know what, it's definitely the size that counts, not how I use it. Here's a copy, good luck on your own. Just no, like I am the problem in sex, clearly not this area, it's me. Or you're just like super confident, but I'm fine, but I've never been that, like I've never thought, like, you know what the only problem with it is that it's not, is that it is biodegradable. That's the only thing. I think it needs to be around for like 10,000 years. It needs to just be it and cockroaches when humanity's dead. 10,000 years from now. And how this woman marketed them is also kind of a weird part to me, because I did a bit of research on these. Yeah, my browser history is interesting right now. And I found one was like for a super, a porn star named James Dean. That makes sense, it's like as seen on TV. But how do you just get one from like some guy on the street? Like, oh, this is Chuck, he's an accountant, he can count to 9 inches, hey. Just some Bob, some guy named Bob, he works, oh, this is going off the rails, hello. Some guy named Bob, he's a civic planner, the ultimate boy next door. Or a guy named Phil works at the gas station, call it the filler up. I do that one. Here's the Donovan, he's a comedian, it makes the others look adequate. In all the research that I found too, almost to an item, they were called dongs, which was just kind of funny to me, and that's the only reason that I kind of want to get one made of myself, just so I can call it the Dono Dong. Or I also had Donovan, which is potato, potato. All right, that's fair. I thought it'd be fun to do too, because if I had it made, I could like sell it after shows and stuff. Like how some guys sell CDs, but I mean, this is an integral part of the plot of my act. So it's like taking home a little souvenir. Like, you like Star Wars, why not Obi-Wan Kenobi? It would light up from the base, Be like an action figure. I love the idea of selling it like a CD too. Like, oh, there's some stuff that you've seen and some stuff that you haven't. Give a free one to the birthday boy or girl. I just like them going home with it and being like, wow, he did not lie to us. That was all completely accurate. One of the ones, and I'll leave on this, that I saw in my research, this was like a feature of it. It had a hand-painted tip, which I don't know why that's a feature. Like, how sensitive is it that you can tell? I don't know. But also, who is hand painting these? I just picture the worst, Bob Ross PBS painting special. We're just gonna put a little vein right there. That'll be our little secret. You know another secret? This is your brother's cock. All right, that's all for me. Thanks so much, everybody. Keep me alive to pay taxes. That's not a reason to live, okay? Don't care. I'll tell you what, why don't you push me into the river, and if you see me again, yes, I apparently do want a life jacket.